So you should have modified the sheet tabs already. We should have a summary that's got basically nothing in it. Quarter 1, January through March. Quarter 2's got April through June. And quarter 3 has July through September. And so what we are going to do we are going to copy quarter 3 and create quarter 4. So we're going to point to quarter 3 and press Control, and then we're going to left drag. And you'll notice as I left drag, there's like a little marker and a plus sign with the mouse. When that little marker's to the right of quarter 3, I'm going to release, and now I have a duplicate of quarter 3. And you'll see that there's like a 2 in parentheses indicating it's a duplicate. I'm going to double click on that and call it quarter 4. I'm going to press enter. And with quarter 4 active, I'm going to delete the content in D4 through D6. Just going to press delete. And then I'm going to delete the content down here in D8 through D10. And I'm going to get rid of the content in D12 through D14. Now you'll notice what I'm doing is I'm leaving the calculations. Okay, we've got the sum function in here. So I'm leaving the calculations. I'm just getting rid of the numbers that were hard-coded. And I'm going to change cell B3 from July to October. And I'm going to try to use the fill here because this should be November and December. And it is smart enough to know that, so I don't have to type them. And then at this point, I'm going to go over to the summary. And they would like the summary sheet to display at the end after all of the quarters. So I'm going to move it. To move it, I'm just going to point at the tab and left drag. And you should see a little marker coming with your mouse. And when that little black marker is after quarter 4, you can release, and that sheet tab will be moved. And at this point, we're going to go ahead and enter data into quarter 4. And I'm going to start in cell B4, and I'm going to do a little trick. I'm going to actually start in B4, go down to row 6 and across. This is the area I'm going to enter numbers in. And by highlighting it, that actually allows me to enter the numbers, type them in using the numeric keypad, and then just press enter to go to the next column, which is actually pretty awesome because then I don't have to stop typing and use my mouse to reposition my active cell. And this next one that's got a dash is actually a 0. Okay, it's just formatted to display as a dash. So don't type a dash, type a 0. So the format for a 0 is to display as a dash. Okay, and at this point, I'm just going to check this number to make sure I entered the data correctly, and I did. I'm going to go down to this next little chunk. And when you highlight like this, if you do make a mistake, it's best to wait until you're done typing to go back and fix it. Because the minute you go back and fix it, you're going to lose all the highlighting. And again, I'm just going to check this figure in the lower right corner to make sure I entered everything correctly. And then we've got our last little section. And we'll check that number. And we will also check our grand total, and it looks fine. Now, what happens if one of your numbers is off? Well, then you just have to backtrack a little bit. You can look at this total, make sure those numbers are right, kind of see which total is wrong, and then kind of backtrack to figure out what number wasn't keyed correctly. Okay, but this looks good, so I'm going to save my changes. And they would like some formatting applied to quarters 1, 2, 3, and 4. And because they're basically identical, you know, as far as the title, the subtitle, where the column headings are placed, where the numbers are, what we're going to do is click on quarter 1, and we're going to press shift and click on quarter 4. And that actually groups these sheets together so that when we make changes to one, it's going to change all of them. So we're going to click on A1, and we're going to apply bold facing to that. We are going to select A3 through E3, which is our column headings. And they also should be bold. So I'm just going to press the F4 key, which is the repeat key. And then I'm going to select A2, and I'm going to italicize that. So after you're done making those changes, you're going to point to any of the grouped sheets, quarters 1, 2, 3, or 4, point to any of them, right-click, and ungroup them. And you can tell when they're ungrouped because they don't all display with a white, white overlay. And at this point, if you look, you should notice that those changes were applied to all of them. And you can especially see that in A2 because that is italicized. So at this point, we're going to save our changes, and you do need to keep this open because we are not done with it yet.